We are the painters of our world. We are creators. We decide what goes.
Hey, check this out. I'm Danny Morrison. I am so excited to welcome you to another episode of the Educate Elevate podcast. Today, we're talking about something that might completely change the way you think about college. Let me ask you this. Throughout your life, how much have you already learned outside of a classroom? Not from a textbook, but from real life. Maybe through a job, an internship, the military, training programs, just figuring things out, solving problems, and getting it done. Now, here's the real question. What if you could actually count those experiences as credit towards a college degree? Because at California's community colleges, you can. It's called credit for prior learning. And at its core, it's simple. If you already have the knowledge, if you already have the skills, you may be able to earn college credit for it. Which means you're not starting from scratch. You're building on what you've already done. And for a lot of students, especially those who've been working, supporting their families, or taking non-traditional paths, that changes everything. Because too often, the system asks people to start over, even when they've already been doing the work. Credit for prior learning flips that. It recognizes that learning doesn't only happen in a classroom. It happens on the job, in your community, through service, through life. And when that experience is recognized, it can help you move faster, sometimes saving months on your path to a degree. Today, we're breaking down how this works, who it's for, and how you might already be closer to a college credential than you think. So let's get right into it. Today, I'm joined by Dr. Stephanie K. Lewis, Dean of Mathematics, Business, and Computer Technology at San Bernardino Valley College in the Inland Empire. With more than 20 years in the California Community College system, she's served as a faculty member, STEM leader, and now dean, focused on expanding access and improving student outcomes. She currently leads major initiatives like Credit for Prior Learning, helping students, especially working students and veterans, earn credit for skills they already have, saving time and money. Under her leadership, the college was recently recognized by the Chancellor's Office as College of the Year for best practices in this work. Dr. Lewis is also a statewide leader and advocate for expanding these opportunities. Dr. Lewis, welcome. It is great to have you with us.
Thank you so very much. Thank you.
Now, in the introduction to this episode, I spoke about all the learning that happens outside the classroom, from jobs, military, life itself. Could you explain what credit for prior learning actually is and how it allows that invaluable real-world experience to translate into college credit?
Yes. So credit for prior learning, we often call it CPL, can be acquired for learning that comes outside of the traditional settings. So it could be a veteran, but it could also be someone in workforce. It could be someone in water treatment. Perhaps they've worked there for some years and now they're wanting to go back to school to earn an associate's degree or perhaps some certification, and they are seeking to utilize their experiences and apply them to their education plan. That's how we translate the work experience into something useful long-term.
Now, the idea of not having to start from scratch is such a game changer for so many people. Can you give us a sense of the types of prior learning that community colleges are recognizing through credit for prior learning and how students can identify if their experiences might even qualify?
I have to say that we've seen students across the spectrum. It could be that individual that was in the military and based on their joint service transcripts have credit or units that they've taken that may apply to their education plan, whatever that plan may be. Or it could be someone who, for example, has done emergency medical work, whether it's in the military or it could be for the Red Cross or some other, group, and they're coming back to school. Maybe they want to be an RN or an LPN. What does their experience look like? And so we now have the mechanism to consistently view it, do it with our mapping articulation platform, such that it can really be a validated experience so that they can then use it for their education plan. But it runs the gamut. There are so many examples out there.
So for someone listening right now who thinks, all right, I might have this experience, what's the general process for applying for credit for prior learning? What are the key steps, and what kind of documentation or evidence might they need to gather or provide?
So their portfolio, what they will submit in the system, will differ depending on what their experiences are. The first step is to bring those experiences, upload them into the system. We have MAP counselors to help. Some schools, such as my own, have also CPL liaisons. So if there is anyone with a problem even getting into the system, we have folks to help you, do that. And we encourage that they just reach out and to get them through that process. But once their portfolio is uploaded in the system, they see the credit for prior learning counselor. And then that credit for prior learning counselor will talk about with them their goals, and they'll map it out what that education plan should look like. And so, a student could get 12 credits, 9 credits, some could get 24 credits. It just depends on what their goals are and what they're trying to do. But it saves time and it saves money. So once it goes through that process, to the faculty process, our articulation officer within that process also looks at it. Then it goes back to the student for them to accept or deny. And they again see a counselor just to solidify everything. And then they move on into their program, and hopefully with credit for prior learning.
Now, you mentioned credit for prior learning increases equitable college access and completion. In what ways does recognizing prior learning specifically break down barriers for adult learners, veterans, or those who might otherwise feel higher education is out of reach?
Interestingly, I think the premise in even answering that question is to understand that there is a socially and politically constructed view about what is valued in education. And for a long period of time, even community colleges were not always as valued as a four-year institution or your premier institutions. That has long been gone and not the case. But when it comes to our adult learners coming back to school and validating their experiences, it has not always been portable. It has not always been transparent, and oftentimes not noted for their program to move forward. But with systems like this, it allows those individuals to be seen. It allows them to be legitimized for their work and their efforts that they've done. And I think even more importantly than that, we have a system, it's institutionalized, where it's not just one component that's validating them, this college or that college. It's all of us. All of our community colleges have, bought into our credit for prior learning at some level and have expanded that. And so for our student, it's a win-win situation. This process that we do for credit for prior learning is for the adult learner. It is an equitable way of really validating what should have been validated all along. And when we do that for adult learners, we do that for their families because it upskills the person financially and their knowledge base, and a long-term trajectory is set for their family as well. It benefits everybody.
So we're talking about credit for prior learning as it relates to adult learners, but are there opportunities for maybe students that are recent graduates from ROP, ROTC, the homeschooled? What about younger students? Are there opportunities there too?
Absolutely. When we look at credit for prior learning, we're looking at learning that occurs outside of the traditional settings. So that could be for any of the ones that you've named. I could be a homeschooler that have had 4-H experiences. And as you may know, those 4-H experiences can be very, very vast. And so if it's that, and that student is coming to our college based on their education plan, it could be that those experiences align up with a particular college course. So it could be, or it could be that student that's in an ROP type program where they are now a CNA. Well, maybe now they want to be an RN or LVN. Well, perhaps they can build their portfolio, go through the system, and get credit for particular courses based on their education plan for being an RN. And so those are fewer courses that they would have to take. So absolutely, credit for prior learning is applicable to all of our students. While we often focus on the adult learners, but it's for all of our students, for experiences that come to you non-traditionally.
So beyond the units and savings, what's the broader impact of credit for prior learning on students? And how does validating their prior learning empower them or change their perspective on their own potential?
I think, at least initially, it is recognizing their value. Sometimes students come to us from all places and they don't always realize their own worth. And when we have a system in place, as we do with credit for prior learning, it goes a long way to say to them that you are valued, your experiences are valued, and we want to further uplift you and help you achieve your goals. That is huge. Part of the battle with students and the adult learner for certain is to help them persist. But part of that persistence is helping them mentally understand that they can do it and that whatever their experiences are, they're just that. It has informed their situation, but it doesn't mean that they stay in that situation. You can move on and do better. Your tomorrow is brighter than your today. And I think our credit for prior learning helps those students see that.
It seems to me like you're almost reimagining what education actually is with credit for prior learning. Am I overstepping the bounds by saying that?
No, I really think that we are. I think that here in the state of California, we're really fortunate to have the leadership that we have had with regard to it. But when we are able to go on the national circuit, it was clear to me that what we do is valuable, not just to the state of California, but to other states as well for their students. As simple as, being able to follow the credit, to systematize the credit. We have found a way to do that in our state. Other states are seeking that. So whether we had asked for it or not, we're a model program.
So for those listening who have valuable experience but might be a little hesitant to go back to school, what's your strongest encouragement or the first step you'd recommend they take to explore credit for prior learning at their local California community college?
First,
First.
it's never too late.
Yes.
It is never too late. It's never too late to upskill, educate, and elevate yourself. And it doesn't matter what that past life has been. It doesn't matter, what the circumstance is at the moment. And I don't want to minimize that, but when I say it doesn't matter, I don't want them to hold themselves to that, because when we do, it keeps us in place and it stops us from moving forward. And the first step is literally to see your credit for prior learning counselor. That's the first thing, because they can help you upload what you need so that you can move forward in whatever your goals are with regard to your certifications or your AA degree and even your bachelor's degree and beyond. I would be neglect to say that, some of our community colleges, have 4-year degree programs now. And one that comes to mind, for example, water treatment, that's a workforce development type program. But can you imagine those individuals that have been working in that field and then they go through credit for prior learning to get their AA degree and then move on to get, if they want to go into management in that field in water technology and management and for a 4-year degree. We're about one of the only colleges now that have it, one of the community colleges. So I would say just do it. Just do it. Don't stop. Believe enough in yourself and love yourself enough that you're worthy, you're worth it, your experiences are worth it, and that you can do it. And you've got people to support you, to help you achieve those goals.
I can honestly say I've learned a lot today, and I think you're changing education by the day. And we appreciate you so much. So Dr. Stephanie K. Lewis, thank you so much for being on the Educate Elevate podcast. Thank you from California Community Colleges, and also thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Next up, we have Matthew McKenzie, a student at San Bernardino Valley College pursuing his bachelor's degree in Information Systems Management. Matthew's story is a fantastic example of what we're talking about today. A proud Navy veteran, he used his extensive IT experience from military service to earn college credit through credit for prior learning, accelerating his path into one of California Community College's more than 60 bachelor's degree programs. By combining credit for prior learning with a community college bachelor's degree in a career-ready field, Matthew has been able to move more quickly toward his educational and career goals. He's also a passionate advocate for fellow veterans. Matthew, thank you for joining us and thank you for your service.
Oh, no problem, man. Thank you. Have a beer.
Now, take us back to 2018. What led you to enlist in the Navy?
Well, basically, they said, go here. You can travel the world. We pay for your school, and you might be able to pick your job. So I'll just like those things check out. Everything sounds good. Let's do it. I'm here. Let's make a future.
Sounds like an easy choice. So while you're in the Navy, you gain hands-on IT experience with computers and communication systems. Did you realize how valuable and transferable those skills would be? Or did it feel like a completely separate part of your life?
Oh no, I knew instantly. I was like, yo, I want this job. I'm gonna do my time, get my hands on, go to school afterwards, and then just transfer it to real life. It's a good field.
So when did you learn throughout that experience that your military experience could earn you college units?
I actually didn't find that out until maybe 2 years in.
Take us back in. I mean, what was your initial reaction when you found out? Like, man, I get units for this? What?
Honestly, I was like, wow, it saves me 6 months of my life, right? Money, because when you use the GI Bill, right, that's what they give you. You have X amount of months. Like I said, that saved me a semester worth, so at least 4 or 5 months. So
now take us into your process at San Bernardino Valley College, the process of understanding what skills you could get credit for.
Okay, so as I was going to school, I immediately wanted to use my benefits. So I reached out to the Veterans Center, and they opened me with arms, like, hey, how are you? What'd you do? Yada yada. First time in school, we got you. Like they took care of me at where I'm at. So what you want to do first is you have your JST, which basically keeps track of your accomplishments, like your classes, your A schools, C schools, whatever extra schools that you've done while you're in, and they keep track. They say what it is and how many credits that it could count for. Some are 4, most are 3. You go from there. But the thing with me is I was in IT in the service, and then I'm going for an IT field. So most of what I did was transferable.
So Matthew, how did receiving credit for your military experience impact your path to this degree?
Oh man, like I said, it just speeds things up, saves money, saves time, more time for classes if I want to. It also makes me want to get more out of what I have.
Boost to your confidence,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah, like I already have this X amount of stuff, so I'm ahead. So like let's get going. Let's knock out these classes. Let's get our career jump started. So
Love it.
just saves time.
So talk about what's next. What's next for Matthew?
What's next is
After earning that bachelor's degree, what's next?
I'm not set in stone exactly what field I want to do. Like this field is vast. There's cybersecurity. There's homeland defense. There's system admin stuff. There's the cloud, right? There's just so much opportunity. I don't know yet.
Independent contractor, maybe.
Independent of that as well. Work for the government, maybe.
All right, so there's somebody watching right now, perhaps a veteran, somebody in the military. The floor is yours. Give them a message that you want them to know on how This can happen for them. They may have their own doubts, but you're doing it. Matter of fact, you did it. Tell them what they need to know today.
Well, first you gotta speak up. Gotta speak up and ask for help. It's something that I don't do much. Not too many of us do. We're just used to being told to do what we got to do and just figuring out a way to take care of it. It's honestly, I need to ask for more help, but that's a big one.
Pride.
Yeah.
You gotta let that go sometimes now. You've been surrounded by some great counselors, it sounds like, from jump.
I did.
That's a good thing.
So when I originally applied to Valley a year ago, I was actually kind of late because it was my first year. So I got put with general counseling. And then like a month into school, I was like, let's go see what's over here. So I went to the veterans office. I went in there, I was like, hey, I'm Matthew. I'm new. What's going on? They hooked me up with all the benefits, the GI Bill, filling everything out. Books, they'll take care of me for books. They're real good people.
Give those veterans and those military members out there that are watching or listening some advice on what they can do in relation to what you've already done.
So for someone else of my age who wants to get into it with past experiences, job experiences, you just gotta ask a counselor. Just get involved, schedule an appointment, talk to people. That'll avoid you having to waste time. Because my benefits, you get X amount of time, so I want to use what I can. I can't afford to waste time. Time is money.
You know, Matthew, you are a prime example of, here at the Educate Elevate podcast, California Community Colleges, we've been up and down this state meeting students where they are. And here you are in the military, getting yourself an education via California Community Colleges through this prior learning program. So thank you so much for being on the Educate Elevate podcast today. And thank you for your time. We appreciate you.
Oh, of course. Happy to be here.
I want to thank our guests, Dr. Stephanie Lewis and Matthew McKenzie, for being here today and for helping us better understand the Credit for Prior Learning program. What we talked about today is bigger than just saving time. It's about recognition and acknowledging that your experience matters, that all of your knowledge has value, regardless of where it was earned, and that the path you've taken, whatever it looks like, isn't something that you have to leave behind when you step into college. Through Credit for Prior Learning, California's community colleges are meeting you where you are, removing barriers and opening doors for students whose real-life experiences haven't always received the credit they deserve. But don't take my word for it. Visit icangotocollege.com right now to learn more. You'll find information about Credit for Prior Learning and dozens of other programs designed to help you achieve your dreams through your local community college. That's icangotocollege.com. Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you next time, and remember, to educate is to elevate.
We are the painters of our world. We are